My job is all about purpose.
Just the ability to make a difference, to help someone be able to go home at the end of the day.
My great-grandfather started the volunteer fire department in Springfield, Nebraska. My grandmother was a nurse. My uncle was a fire chief in Atlanta, Georgia. So somewhere down the line, it was my purpose to be doing this.
Yeah, we're a family here.
The data we get from RapidSOS is life-saving.
Have you ever met a 911 professional and asked, what's the worst call you've ever taken? Well, here's your answer. I heard your last breath the night you flipped your four-wheeler. I tried to call you the day you committed suicide by driving your car into a tree. Blue face, cold to the touch. I helped you with CPR after you found your infant face down, not breathing. It messed me up. I did everything I could, but it wasn't enough. You were with me from the beginning, Grandma. 27 years later, I took the 911 call when you died. How fitting to be there for me in the beginning, and I was there for you in the end. I miss you, Grandma. I am 911. This is but a glimpse into the world of emergency dispatch. But what is it really like to answer a call during someone's nightmare? What is the impact of the first responder answering the call? Available on Amazon or where you purchase your favorite books and ebooks. Imagine listening. Your worst day is our everyday.
This is Jordan, and you're listening to the Code 7 Podcast Network.
Warning. This episode contains the 3 A's of podcasting: adult content, adult language, and awesomeness. You've been warned.
And so what we've built with real-time interoperability, I think, is just a fantastic solution to this, because the way that it works is, as Keely mentioned, like, calls are still coming into RapidSOS, right? So you're getting knowledge that a call is happening within your jurisdiction, but the call audio is not showing up there. And so in the jurisdictions that have our sort of real-time interoperability module, the way that it works is we know that a call should be coming into your jurisdiction, but it is not ringing your phones. And we also know that it was sent somewhere else to a neighboring jurisdiction if they also have real-time interoperability. And so what's even better about that is not only do you immediately know, because we can provide that notification, Keely. So like, you're not sitting there going, whoa, my calls aren't coming in, or actually waiting until find out. Like, we can actually tell you that proactively.
Welcome to Within the Trenches, true stories from the 911 dispatchers who live them.
Hey, what's going on? This is Ricardo with the Code 7 Podcast Network, and this is going to be episode 643 of Within the Trenches, True Stories from the 911 Dispatchers Who Live Them. This episode is sponsored by RapidSOS, Safer Together, the leading AI company in public safety. Big shout out to subscribers as always. And I just wanted to jump in here really quick before the episode. This episode is going to be a little different. And I wanted to do this because there is a live broadcast that I have been doing with a good friend of mine. Her name is Keely. She is a former 911 director as well as dispatcher and EMT. And now she does marketing contracting work with RapidSOS. And her and I had the chance, the honor and privilege, really, to attend an event that happened back in January. And this event was actually put on by HBO Max for their show, The Pitt. It was done at the Allegheny Hospital where the show takes place and where some of the stuff has been filmed as well. And RapidSOS was they were a sponsor of this event. So we got a chance to go out there, talk with some folks, take some footage, do some behind the scenes. There was a red carpet there. We were giving out totes and swag. And it was a way to give thanks to the healthcare workers and first responders that do everything that they do every single day to help save lives. So we had healthcare workers there, as well as first responders. And, we had dispatch all the way through. And it was great to have just kind of connect the entire family, really, of public safety. Again, first responders, dispatch, police, fire, EMS, and that whole first responder family, but also healthcare workers, but compiling them all as one unit. And we got to screen episode 2 of season 2, which is currently streaming on HBO Max. And that's new episodes hit every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. We were in the auditorium and we got to see this episode. And what we've done, Keely and I, after that, is we've done a live broadcast called Most Important Seconds after the Pit. And we're staggering the episodes so that, and also for this, I believe we go over episode 4, maybe. We end up saying it. Either way, spoiler alert if you have not watched the episode yet. But what we're doing is we're connecting people and technology, and just kind of imagining what it was like maybe in dispatch or in the ambulance as it's getting to the hospital to try to save seconds, even minutes, for those once they get to the ER. So it's been a lot of fun to be able to do this. This episode will cover the broadcast where Keely and I had Ben as one of our guests for that episode, for that live broadcast, and he is the VP of product at RapidSOS. And we talk about AI, we talk about real-time interoperability. So there's a lot of connections there with technology and dispatch, and just a lot of different things. So I wanted to share that for this episode. I will be traveling out to the 911 Goes to Washington, which is an annual conference that Nina puts on. We'll be talking about Next Generation 911, NG 911 funding, but also the bigger topic that we'll be talking about, of course, is reclassification of 911 professionals. So I'm going to be out there recording and just doing a lot of stuff. So I will see you all next week for another episode and more powerful stories coming from every guest that comes on. So without further ado, here is episode 643. Enjoy. Hello. Good morning, everyone. It is February 6, 2026, and depending on where you are at right now, it is probably snowing, because over here in Indiana, it definitely is. And in this room, as I say all the time, it is freezing. My name is Ricardo Martinez. I am the creator and host of Within the Trenches podcast. I'm the founder of the I Am 911 movement. I do public speaking, do all kinds of different things, and I am welcoming you here for Most Important Seconds After the Pit. With me today is my co-host, the awesome Keely. Hello, my friend. How are you?
Hello. How are you? And hello, the space who's joining us live right now, wherever you are in space, because it might be afternoon, it might be morning, you might have just rolled out of bed. So thanks for joining.
This is very true. And for, a lot of you, I've got my coffee cup here. Represent to my old ECC, Allegan County Central Dispatch. Represent what is going on. So just really quick, I come from public safety, 13 years in public safety, and I have been in the profession for over 2 decades now. And as you can see down here, that's a lot. It's a long time. I've worked on the private side of 911 as well. And I have been on my own doing all of this with a podcast, mental health and wellness, peer support, and everything for our 911 professionals, the I Am 911 movement. Imagine listening, all different kinds of things, but also for my friend Keely here. For those who are watching who may or may not know you, Keely, a little bit of background information, please.
Of course. So I, much like you, got my career started in public safety. I started as an EMT and then moved into the 911 center. I spent 30 years in EMS, so I ran them concurrently at the same time. So I would change costumes and get into my EMS uniform. There were sometimes I would take 911 calls, and then my shift would end and I'd go answer the call. So that was actually a really exciting portion of my time. And in November of last year, I retired after 25 years under the headset. And there's light at the end of the tunnel, everybody. And it's not a train.
Whoa.
Whoa. Right. So I came over here. I'm working as a contractor with RapidSOS on the marketing team, and I've, been enjoying this side of being able to touch 911 from a safe distance, and still driving the mission forward. Being able to shape public safety, the industry, the technology, and how we lead into each other and respect each other. Mental health and wellness is a big one. I mean, that's how you and I got connected. So
Right, yeah.
So it's been great to get over here and be a part of a team that's still very mission driven in the industry. So
I think that's what I love the most as well, is the fact that the company is mission driven. For those who are watching, listening, you may or may not know, RapidSOS and myself, we have this partnership through the podcast and everything. And actually, in all honesty, we have had kind of a partnership in a sense since the beginning of the company. I've known them for this long, and I remember sitting with the CEO years ago in DC when I was there for my first 911 Goes to Washington that Nina puts on, which is actually coming up here in just a couple of weeks. Yeah. And he and I were sitting in the lobby talking about implementation of text to 911. So we've known each other for a long time, and it's awesome to have this solid partnership for the life-saving technology that RapidSOS provides, but also for the storytelling and everything that comes out of within the trenches to be able to just continue to solidify the longevity of what it is that comes through, and sharing those stories, but also those life-saving stories through the technology that's provided for those within the trenches of 911. Now, Keely, what I want to do here, because we talked about it in the first broadcast that we did, the second one a little bit, but I want to just refresh everyone and remind those who are watching and listening, because we might have some new folks here, to say, why is it that we are doing this, and also to connect the company, and why with the show as well. What was it that we did just a few weeks ago, which was a huge honor to be able to do and take part in and just experience all together?
So we were very lucky to have an opportunity with HBO to sponsor an event, or HBO Max. I'm sorry, HBO Max. To be able to sponsor an evening at Allegheny General Hospital that brought all first responders, the whole chain of response. That's what they were looking to do, was to honor them by giving them a sneak peek for episode 2 before it had streamed. So it was really exciting. There were, vendors there that were giving some cool swag and cool drinks that were being passed out. There were mocktails, everybody. Nobody was drinking on the job, I promise. It was just a whole room of first responders from the field all the way through like the OR, the nursing staff, the hospital staff. It was incredible to see the entire chain of care, chain of response under one roof, kind of being together in this cohesive moment and event that culminated at the end. It was an all-day event too. It started at like dark 30 and ended at dark night 30. Like it was a long day, but it was so amazing and captivating, and being able to hear both sides, like that pass off that happens in the ER. There were a lot of those conversations that were going on. So it was really neat to see it, because we had people that were like just freshly scrubbed out of the OR. And this is a trauma center, so like they had scrubbed out and came down to meet with us and to get to know what we did as a company. And we got to talk to them about what they did. And then also we had a couple of members of first responders, EMS, as well as 911, who were able to talk to those folks that were just scrubbed out of an ER or just off the floor of the ER downstairs. And it was really great to see that, kind of have them all in one space. And it was a true honor to be able to sponsor it and be a part of it. And it's still, it keeps us mission forward on, connecting lives and saving lives from the first moment of connection with that 911 call and all the way on through. So that really felt important, especially that's our mission,
Yeah. I enjoyed being there, especially because it was a way to as you were saying, give thanks and recognition to healthcare workers and first responders for everything that they do every single day to save lives. Now, I want to play something here really quick before we bring on our guest who's going to be here with us.
We've got a guest, everybody.
I know we've got a guest,
excited.
But I want to play this really quick. And actually, I looking on my other screen right here, I see you. And oh, look at the look on your face now. Yeah, I didn't tell you that we were going to play this, but
but I know what it is because it's a big picture of me. It's a big piece of me. I'm sorry, everybody.
All right.
Sorry.
Okay, so let me go ahead and play this really quick. It's only like 45 seconds. But this goes along with what we were talking about, which is why I'm mentioning this. So we just finished the screening for episode 2, season 2 of The Pitt. What was that like?
I mean, this is a very real experience, a lived experience of mine, for sure. It kind of brings me back to those moments where I miss it. We were able to meet all these folks. We were able to show our appreciation. It's very important to me personally.
Being able to work for a company that supports first responders and healthcare workers the way that it does, I couldn't have asked for a better second career.
This is the mission of our company, and here we are. It's so great to be able to be a part of it and be able to give back to them and invite them in and allow them to spend time together as one cohesive unit.
Yeah, love it. It was such a good experience. And now, Keely, again, before we bring on our guest here, if you can just kind of let people know, like, so what are we doing here with this most important seconds after The Pitt? What are we doing with the connection of the episode and some of the things that are happening in the show?
So this is our opportunity to talk about it from, that we talk about it all the time, right? The full chain of response, right? The 911 call triggers a series of events and things that take place for the citizen that is in need, for, the first responders, your police officers, your paramedics, your EMTs, your firefighters that are getting on scene. There's that call, that ding, then the ring, then the call, then all of those things are leading up to, full treatment of a patient that needs assistance. And so what we're doing is we're talking about technology and what it does in the face to speed up those minutes, those seconds that we're able to buy back in the field to make their jobs that much easier when they're rendering aid, rendering care, taking a 911 call, whatever that is. And then hopefully also saving the hospital staff some time when they're getting into their facility and then doing that handoff, because it's all, like I said, it's a chain of response that doesn't just stop somewhere. It continues until that patient has returned home, and is recovering. And even after that, there's still caregivers that are probably helping with things like PT and occupational therapy and all those things that help. But it starts somewhere. And so what we do is we try to lean in a little bit on, especially the calls that come in by ambulance, and talk about how technology could have supported, is supporting, can do all the cool things to make their lives easier.
Yeah, leading right into that moment, because I think that was one of the things that you and I were doing in the auditorium that day was while we were watching some of that, thinking, I wonder how this phone call came into the ECC. I wonder how crazy this was listening to it. And then for you on your side as an EMT, what was going on in the ambulance on the way there and all of that. So there's so many different angles that we could go to, and it's just it makes this so much fun to be able to do it. And also, for those who are watching and listening, spoiler alert, we are talking about episode 4 today. Episode 5 aired yesterday, and so we're staggering them so that we're not giving too much away on things that are going on. So
we're trying to give you time, everybody.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Trying to give you time. But for those who are watching and listening for that episode as well, one of the things that happens is there's some sticky notes that come up, and we're going to bring this up here in a moment. But first, I want to bring on our guest. And our guest today, who's going to help us talk about some of these things that that happen in this episode and connecting some of these pieces, is Ben Johnson, and he's the VP of Product with RapidSOS. Good morning.
Good morning. What's up, guys? Thanks for
Not
having me.
much. Yeah, no, we're happy to have you here because of everything that we're going to be talking about, that we're going to be getting into. So for those who are watching and listening, Ben, you're kind of a super fan a little bit of this show, right?
Well, I maybe shouldn't show my colors too much, but I will say that every Friday, my wife and I have been doing this for years, but we always have a date night every Friday, and it's a date night at home because we have young kids. But lately, the Pitt is our Friday date night. So I haven't watched episode 5 either. So I'm glad there's no spoilers in this because we're watching it later tonight. So, but yeah, I love the show. It's a great show.
So I will go ahead and ask you, because there was, I think the character's name is Dana, and ends up calling out something. And this was one piece that I did not remember. And you, like, right away, and for those who are watching and listening, this was before we went live, when we were just like in the green room, just talking. And what was it that Dana called out?
So yeah, I mean, she calls out a code black. And I mean, for those who don't know, that's a general purpose, non-life threatening code that would be called at a hospital. But I think what was so interesting is that she got a phone call about a code black at another hospital, which happy to talk about why I hope that will change in the future with the technology that RapidSOS and others are building and creating. But that was certainly an interesting moment.
Oh, yes, for sure. Because then when they call that, one of the security guards starts wiping off the board and everything. And someone who is newer there is asking, like, what is he doing? And they go, he's in the zone. But what he's doing is everyone is taking bets. They've got sticky notes and they're writing certain things on what they think might be what caused that code black. So before we get any further, I know the both of you have some sticky notes. So Keely, we will start with you. What is your bet? What are you thinking is the cause?
I'm going $20 on an outage. I'm going with the fact that the other hospital has experienced some catastrophic outage somewhere, and now they're shunting all of their phone calls, their ALS units, all the things, because they can only support the small potatoes in the hospital. And who knows, maybe it's a full outage in the area or in the region that's also impacting their emergency services, right? Like this could be a problem. And I think that's where I'm putting my money.
Very nice. All right, Ben, what you got?
Okay, so I also have $20, and I put staffing, because I think that, staffing shortages are very common, certainly in 911, and I think that hospitals obviously experience this too. But I think it's going to be something like that. I think it's going to be a commentary on the healthcare system that we all are supported by today, and the challenges of those systems. So that's my guess.
All right. Well, I don't have a sticky note and I don't have cash. but you know what's funny is that I would have been kicked out if I was within that storyline, because one of the people who walks up they end up telling him, we use money, like real money. And he goes, I just got my first deposit. And he goes, so I've got money, I will throw it in. So I got my first deposit. I'll be that person.
You're the Whitaker.
Yes, you're the Whitaker of it.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
I'll go Barry.
My thought was it's either going to be some sort of cyber attack, because they don't know. They say they have no idea. They just said that that's what they were throwing out there. So either cyber attack or some sort of mass shooting, or even maybe an active shooter that's going on within that other hospital. Something that's going on where someone just picked up and like code black, and that was it. You never know. It doesn't say in the episode, but because the show itself is so crazy, but you think crazy, right? But it's stuff that actually happens. It's just like in public safety. There's so much stuff that comes out in the news that you think this can't be true, but it is. So that's where my mind was going, is that anything can happen. So let's start with the outage first, because when we were talking about this, Keely and I, we were thinking, this is kind of the same thing. That other hospital calls code black, right? And let's say it is an outage. Now they're getting their overflow, right? They're getting that. And it's the same thing as an ECC, where if another agency, if something crazy is going on, that overflow comes in. But there are different solutions. And Keely, you can speak on this as well, as not just coming from the chair, but also being a director. How does a lot of that work, and what are you depending on from other agencies if you have something that's going on, or someone else and they're overflowing to you? But also at the same time, what is something that would make it that much easier?
So, I mean, I can't even tell you how many times we've experienced an outage where, I actually at one point, I'm going to tell you this story really quick. I was sitting in my office, and it had been a few minutes, and I'm like, I haven't heard the phone ring. So like I walk out on the floor and I'm like, hey, are the phones working? And they all looked at each other, like all of a sudden you just see the color wash out of their face because they realize also the phone has not rung. So they're like looking at each other like, oh God. Like, so now somebody picks up their cell phone and tries to dial 911 from their cell phone, right? And at that point we realize we're dead, right? Now, fortunately at the time, thank goodness, I had RapidSOS in place, right? So we saw the ding come up on the map, but our phones never rang after that. And I was like, quick, go through your RapidSOS, see if anything came in while we were down. I'll start making notifications to roll our calls to the neighboring county, which requires me to now go into my phone system, find the number for the state, get our PSAP information, get the where I need to roll it to, then also call the county director that's, my neighboring county to be like, hey, I've got to roll my calls to you because nothing's working. And this is a process. This is not something now, once you're on the phone with the state, that process is like, you're on the phone for maybe 5 minutes where there's, transferring calls or whatever. But like, it's a process. There were a lot of analog things that had to happen, that kind of slow down that, like, how do we make this happen quicker? But I will say, the second time we had this happen, we just relied on RapidSOS. We just did. We were like, we've got the calls coming in and we're fine. Like, we were still getting our non-emergency lines. Somebody had cut our 911 fiber. So that was the second outage where I had been a director. Let me tell you, in my director time, I had a lot of outages, but the first one was like early on when I first took over as a deputy. And then the second one was like years later where I realized, oh, I can depend on this and I'm not calling the state because I don't have time for that. Right. So like, and I think that's a lot of what directors face is like, we don't have time to make all these phone calls and like, or like, what if I wasn't in the office? Right. Like now my dispatchers who are answering calls have to do that. So like, this is where I think real-time interoperability would really benefit a lot of us. And, those who have used or supported, been supported with RapidSOS before, we've seen that happen where like, hey, I still was getting my traffic. Nothing changed. My job didn't change. But now we've expanded this concept. So I'm going to roll that over to Ben, and Ben can tell us how that has expanded.
I mean, it's so great hearing those examples because I think it actually perfectly tees us up. We did not coordinate on this example beforehand, but if you think about what Keely said, like that moment of like panic of like, whoa, I don't think calls are coming in. Like that happens regularly, right? And so what we've built with real-time interoperability, I think, is just a fantastic solution to this because the way that it works is, as Keely mentioned, like calls are still coming into RapidSOS, right? So you're getting knowledge that a call is happening within your jurisdiction, but the call audio is not showing up there. And so in the jurisdictions that have our sort of real-time interoperability module, the way that it works is we know that a call should be coming into your jurisdiction, but it is not ringing your phones. And we also know that it was sent somewhere else to a neighboring jurisdiction if they also have real-time interoperability. And so what's even better about that is not only do you immediately know, because we can provide that notification, Keely. So like you're not sitting there going, whoa, my calls aren't coming in, or actually waiting until find out. Like, we can actually tell you that proactively. So that's one great benefit. But the second piece that I think is so cool is if that call is picked up and triaged by a telecommunicator in a neighboring jurisdiction, all of the great tools all the great functionality that Harmony, our AI system, is providing to that telecommunicator transfer back over to the jurisdiction in which the call should have been delivered. So you're seeing a live transcript. You're seeing a summary of those calls. You're getting keyword alerts. It's as if, your telecommunicators can still focus on dispatching. Somebody else just happens to start taking the call. And I honestly, we've already seen so many really impactful examples of this helping so much in the wild. And when you think about the average time for a call to be transferred back to an agency that it was supposed to be, I think it's some 45 seconds to a minute or something. I mean, we're talking about saving minutes. I mean, we talk at RapidSOS a lot about saving seconds because, we can deliver critical information, but now we're saving minutes. And it's a really cool piece of technology. It's very impactful. And to tie it back to the show really quick, because I like I said, I'm a super fan. It's so frustrating to me that Dana, the charge nurse, she has to find out that calls are, in this case, patients are being redirected via a phone call. How long did it take that phone call for them to be oh shoot, we should call them and let them know? That is just so much wasted time. And that's exactly the same kind of scenario that we're trying to help with too. So
yeah, it makes me think years back, there was there was an agency that was east of us, and I don't remember exactly what it was going on, but I know at that time there was they had one of their dispatchers who had to travel to our dispatch center to take call. They had to sit at one of our consoles to take calls because that overflow was coming over. And again, I don't remember why that happened, the exact thing, but I remember I said, so we're going to have to run all of these calls until that person gets here. We don't know their geography. We don't know anything. There was no CAD to CAD or anything. It was stuff that people were talking about. And even now people are still talking about that. But what it sounds like is if you're using this technology, you don't need quote unquote CAD to CAD, right? And you don't have to send someone to drive to the other center to sit there. And again, just like you were saying just now, the time that it takes for those phone calls or someone to remember, I need to call them to let them know that they've got this patient coming in, and well, how long is it going to take for them to get it? I don't know, just letting you know, have people ready or whichever. Now people can just kind of they can be at their own place, right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, and yeah, it's very powerful to see. And I hope everyone can experience it because it's so tangible so quickly. I guess I should say, I hope they don't experience an outage, but in the case in which they do, I want us to be there to support them. And that's what RapidSOS has always been. We've always been there to support everyone in those moments that matter. Backing up the heroes that do the job, wear the headset, and run into the field. So that's really my hope with this, and I'm very proud of it. So
yeah, I think it's a big game changer. And for you, Keely, putting on your director's hat, hearing everything that Ben just explained, what does this mean for you? If you're in there still, or even friends, we have friends all over the place. And, we hear stories about, we had this going on, there was overflow, or there was an overflow, or we were trying to connect, we were trying to do these things. What does that mean to you as a director?
It's, first of all, I would like to comment on the fact that all of this cool technology came out after, just as I was leaving.
Same.
And I'm like, I can't play with the toys anymore. The new toys have come out, and I'm not allowed to play with them. And this is one of those moments where where I physically sat, where my center sat, we experienced this kind of disruption a lot. And it's just because we were in a valley, there were things that happened all the time. And so to know that there'd be this moment where like I wouldn't be sitting at my desk suddenly realizing the phone hadn't rang, and like things could just be, I wouldn't have to be the person to handle that for my team while they were trying to call back numbers, right? Like it would just do the thing. Like it would just make it happen. And it's just the amount of, first of all, bandwidth that it takes to when you don't have that piece in place, when you don't have real-time interoperability, when you don't have those pieces of technology that are out there that exist, and then this happens and now you think of all the bandwidth it takes to support your system and support your team as a director in those moments. Then imagine if the team can just do it themselves. If they can fire and it is just happening as though, normal workflow, normal workday, this is happening. We've been alerted that this problem has happened. And then all it is, the scream to the other room, hey, Keely, just letting you know, and then it's just a notification for awareness, not for trying to put all the pieces back together when they have broken apart, right? So I would have loved to have had that so that I knew my team was being supported, even if I had stepped out, if I was in a meeting. It's like peace of mind, right? I've got real-time interoperability that's sitting as this layer of peace of mind for me in that moment. And then now I know my citizens, I know my officers, I know my field responders, I know everybody is going to be okay. If there's a catastrophic failure, like what a peace of mind.
I love it. And I want to look at Ben's staffing sticky note, because
I was going to say, I want people to remember that this is my bet. I think I got it. So
yes. Yeah. So, you mentioned, staffing, and that is a good answer as well, because the same thing within ECCs and such, short staffing is all over the place. And you hear a lot about AI and how this can be an assistant to those under the headset within the trenches of 911, doing all of these things. There are some folks out there who are nervous, right? And because people are thinking, oh, this might take over or whichever, but that's really not what it's there for. It's not to take over. I mean, there's always going to be that need for that human factor. It's more so almost like, an assistant, or like Yoda that's sitting on your shoulder that's there to assist you, right? Or in the sense of the show, like Dr. Robbie, if you see him coming around, he's going around and checking on everyone and helping everyone to do things faster, but to understand and just continue to do it. So there's a good correlation there as well. So kind of talk about that a little bit, Ben, on the staffing issue. What are some things that RapidSOS is doing that also kind of assists with that?
Yeah, happy to. And to that point about, the concern around AI, taking over. I kind of think about it in the context of the show. Like, would robots ever take over all of this like amazing work that they're doing, and the quick thinking and the empathy and like the bedside manner of like actually getting to know a patient? Like, no, like there's just no world where that happens, right? And so we want our telecommunicators to be able to continue to have that human connectivity, and in those moments that matter, like have that connection and, think on their feet and do the right thing. And like, that's what we want to do. But we also recognize that like staffing is crazy and it's very difficult to, stay afloat. And so in those moments when, the alternative is really long hold time, no one getting the answer, or overflowing to, somewhere else and them still being overwhelmed, what's sort of a solution? And so we've had a sort of version of this out for a little while here of our sort of call automation product for alarms. But I'm really excited because we have a very, very slick new version of Harmony that handles all sorts of scenarios, alarms, non-emergency scenarios. And I think it is just, it's a backstop, right? Like it's meant to handle, the calls that, honestly, I talk to a lot of telecommunicators and they're like, I don't want to be talking about, this. I mean, it's safe space, right? Like, I don't need to be fielding the like 10th raccoon trapped in a garage, like, and sending it to animal control. Like, do they need to be dealing with that? No, like let's let them focus on those emergencies, those moments that are really important for them to be dealing with, and like just transfer that out, send it to animal control, or there's calls about the jail, like just transfer that stuff out. And so that's really what we've been building, is building a system that can handle the toil and the challenges of a ton of volume, ever increasing, and not having the bandwidth to support it. So how can Harmony be that that co-pilot, that Yoda on the side to help in those really difficult moments? So that's what we've been doing.
I love it. It just any way to provide life-saving technology to be able to assist and make things so much faster when we're already working as fast as possible, but even a little bit more always helps, right? So you get to stretch those seconds to minutes. And Keely, what are your thoughts on this as well? Because as you said, like I'm like you, I feel jealous, and I tell people this all the time, and people will look at me like, why? Wait, what? Why are you jealous? Like, because all of this cool stuff came out, and like you were saying, Keely, I want to play too. Like, there's some times where I hear about this, and I think, man, I kind of want to come out of retirement a little bit, at least just to play around with it and help some people, because I can only imagine that, and I'm sure Keely, with what you do as well, you've probably heard is the same amount, if not more than myself, that feeling of satisfaction of using the technology to be able to help save one, or at least bring it to an outcome different than what it would have been without it. So what are your thoughts?
So, it's so funny you say that. Like, I want to come out of retirement and play. I know I just saw Jen's name pop up on our screen. She was like, whoa. I told Jen that if I come out of retirement, I'm going to go to Cass County and I'm going to work with them while they're playing with new tools and equipment that they're going to be able to have very shortly. But we were one of the beta testers when we first got alarm call automation that had come in, right? And I remember the hesitancy at first, right? Because it was like, we're so used to taking this workload in, and then like what happens without it. And then there's also been this your citizen pushback, right? As a director, I got pushback all the time. We're like, and there's also local governments out there that are like, hard stop, we're not putting any AI in. Right. Like, and I think it's because there's a misconception, and Martin V on our team, one of these days, we're just going to put him on and let him talk to the general public about AI, because he really makes you feel comfortable. It was him who was standing in my center who made me feel really comfortable with it. And the point of it is that it is supposed to it's not supposed to be any different. You're not supposed to have, there shouldn't be a lower level of service with AI sitting there to help your citizens, right? And that is what, we may not have been the first out of the gate to put it out there, but that's because we're back here making sure that it's this is going to sound just like a human. This is going to be something in place that can help and assist and knows when to flag it, to be like, hey, this is going to need somebody that I can't do this, but here somebody else needs to do this. So the quality of care and empathy, and it has to sort of live in AI a little bit so that it understands, hey, this needs a human, or hey, no, I can help you get to where you need to be, but it also doesn't change that level of service, right? That level of care that your citizens. And I think that's something that's been really mission forward for our company, is seeing oh, this is the pushback. How do we adjust that? Let's stop, let's pivot, let's adjust, because we want to make sure that, our directors are being supported in this space, our administrators, our boards that are making these decisions, that they're supported while they're implementing this new piece of technology that has a little bit of controversy surrounding it, right? So we want to make sure that it's being done right, and not just being done because that's the buzzword that's out there in the world. And I think, our product team, and I know I'm speaking to the choir here, but our product team has been very careful with the design and very careful with what they're doing. So seeing where it was when I beta tested it and seeing where it is now, and I'm not allowed to play with it. I'm a little unhappy, like, because it's so different now.
We can set you up a special account, Keely, for you if you want to talk with Harmony.
I would love that. I would really love that because it's so, I find it, technology is a buzzword now. AI is a buzzword now. And there's all these things. And when you're sitting in the seat of the directorship and speaking to leadership that's out there listening right now, it's so difficult because there are so many buzzwords: wellness, AI, technology, advancements, right? And it's like, where do you find your footing amongst all of that when it's sometimes lonely at the top and you're getting pushback from the board, pushback from your people, pushback from your citizens? So when you have this piece, this RapidSOS company who's coming in and going, how can we support you? And really caring about where it lands, it makes a world of difference. It really does. And I think that's why now that I'm on this side and I'm kind of watching what's going on, and I'm like, wow, this has really advanced a lot and this has come a long way. And I'm grateful to be a part of that. And I can't wait to start getting, so I collect save stories here. I collect all the impact stories. Like every time a customer uses something and has success, I want to know about it. So find me, please email me, get on the website. There's a little tab in your RapidSOS software under your hamburger menu, and like share your story. Do all those things because we want to hear about it. We also want to hear maybe there's something that could be improved, right? So like we want to know about that too, because we're supporting the world of 911, the people that are still in the trenches, the people that are still doing this work. And, we want to make sure that we're saving those seconds that make sense so that when there is a pass off to an ER, like the Pitt, that there's been this continuity of care that started with the first phone call, regardless of how it comes into your centers. And I love it. And I'm excited to see where the next chapters of our products go. And that's why we were so excited to have Ben, because Ben's like, I'm a super fan. I want to talk about it. We were like, yes,
Thank you for having me. This has been fun.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and just being able to connect the things that are going on in the episodes with the technology that's provided, kind of imagining, what's been going on from the beginning, from the phone call all the way leading into when it gets into the ER, because then even more craziness is happening within each episode. So it's a craziness all over the place. And you mentioned, those buzzwords and everything, but I think the difference with a lot of those buzzwords is when you have results and the love and passion that goes into the technology that is out there for those who are using it. And that's really what it's about as well. It's not just about product, right? It's about the story that goes along with it, those folks that are using it, and really helping those folks that are using it, but honoring them as well at the same time, because it's about them. It's about them that do it. You can have the greatest technology in the world, but it doesn't mean anything unless you have people that are using it, and also that it's provided there to help them save those lives. So that's what I love about this partnership, which you guys do, just all of it. And I want to share something here really quick that also talks a little more about what it is that you do. So let me cue this up here really quick. And I will say as well, you might hear a familiar voice because this was one of the coolest things that I had the chance to do. As I said, I've got this partnership with RapidSOS, but that also lends for behind the scenes stuff that I've done with them, with their short film that they put out called 13 Seconds, which Jen and Anthony are in here from Cass County, and all the amazing work that they did, Nate, Janie, just everyone involved. So there were these things that I've done as well, and I get to do some of the voiceover stuff. So let me cue this up here really quick, and we'll watch this, and then we'll go into the wrap up of this week's episode here. Actually, let me bring this down because there was one button that I was supposed to push and it, it disappeared really quick before I had it on there. So, all right, here we go. And if for some reason you can't hear it, throw that in the comments, but you should be able to hear everything. So here we go.
Disconnection. Critical data trapped in silos. Wasting critical seconds. The choice is clear. A fragmented status quo that kills through silence and delay. Or a connected future with AI clarity and speed. We choose a connected future because connectivity saves lives. RapidSOS connects every device, every agency, every company, and every community in a network that defends against the unexpected. We're the leading public safety AI company that unlocks mission-critical intelligence, enabling faster, smarter, more accurate emergency response. Public safety gets the intelligence they need when they need it. Enterprises get visibility that improves response outcomes, and communities are more resilient and lives are saved. Real-time data from the world's largest safety network of 700 million people using devices, apps, and sensors. Over 200 global enterprises and 22,000 federal, state, and local agencies fuels the Harmony AI engine delivering this intelligence. With every new connection, the network grows stronger, the AI smarter, and communities safer. We're building a world where people and technology unite. Because we're safer together.
Oh, man. Okay. How cool is that video? Not just saying everything that they do, but the way it was put together was very cool. And it was an honor. So RapidSOS, thank you for allowing me to do the voiceover. It was an honor to do that. I want to go to Ben really quick here. Watching that and seeing everything, seeing your mission put out there for, public safety, those, just everyone involved. How does that make you feel?
Oh, I mean, it's the honor of my career. I started, unlike you guys, I didn't start my career in public safety. Started my career in technology. Worked on a lot of different emerging tech. Built really cool robots and artificial intelligence systems. But it's a full circle moment for me because I started my life in public safety. My mom ran the state police when I was born, and so I actually learned to crawl. I don't know if you knew that. You guys probably didn't know that. I learned to crawl in a state police headquarters. Also grew up with like a lot of tough guys with beards who then became Santa during Christmas time, which was like somehow normal because I went to Christmas at the state police headquarters. Anyways, that's for another day. But back to how it makes me feel. I mean, like it's amazing, right? Because I talked to my mom a lot growing up about how important the job was that she did. I went off into technology, and it is just it's amazing to be back working in such an impactful role at such an impactful company. And I really do believe in this vision that we are creating together with public safety. I mean, it's truly a privilege. So yeah, it makes me feel great. It's honestly what keeps me going every day. So
amazing. Thank you so much for joining us today for this live broadcast. And before we go off the air here, I have to ask, I'll start with Keely. How do you think the episode that aired yesterday is going to go?
Oh.
Where are we going?
Where are we going? I'm hoping we find out what the code black is because me and Ben have some money on
right.
And and so I'm hoping that we first of all find out what that is, but also like finding out that we've got like an influencer doctor, and
that's right.
And seeing where that goes and how, because like that there's like a dance, because like same thing, right? Like in 911, we've got some influencers that are out there in the space, but it's like there's personal information that you have to keep, and you can't put a lot of your stuff publicly because things could go sideways. And then of course there's the court of public opinion, right? And it's like, are you doing that while you're at work? Is that okay? So like, I'm interested to see, because I know there are some directors out there in space that are finding that might be an issue for your dispatchers. There was actually just an interesting conversation in our community at RapidSOS that somebody had asked if we are using an SMS text messaging feature that is CJS compliant. For those that you don't know, that's Criminal Justice Information System. That's where we do all of our running of plates, all the, putting in wanted persons, stolen vehicles, that sort of platform. And because everything inside a 911 center is FOIA or OPRA requestable, right? Where like you could, your personal cell phone can end up in discovery if you're using it while you're working, right? That's why there's policies out there where some agencies don't let your phones on the desk, but you've got this influencer and you've got this generation of people who live on social media. So what does that look like? So I'm very interested in seeing how the hospital handles it, because it could have impacts in other places, but this is a real thing. I mean, we still haven't gone back to the baby. Where's the baby?
That's true. Yeah.
No.
Where's the baby?
There was also there was an infection or something like right at the end? Yeah.
Right. The leg, like, is it MRSA? Yeah. Is it something else? What's going on here? And I will say, I watched the episode with Ricardo yesterday, and there was they had the posterior MI that was going on, myocardial infarction, cardiac issue. And I come from EMS. So like, I was like, good call. He just started laughing. He's like, watching it with people. And the same thing happened when we were at Allegheny General, was like, watching it in a room of people that have the same experiences is a much different experience than watching it at home alone. So if you guys get to do watch parties, I highly recommend you throw your public safety people in the audience with you, because it's interesting.
Okay, so Keely, should I FaceTime you when my wife and I are having our date night tonight?
Absolutely. Bring me in. I'll bring popcorn.
Yeah. It was really good. It was really funny to see Keely's reaction. She's like, good job, or good idea, or good call, or something like that. You said something to that. I think it was a good call. And I just I look over, but I mean, I'm looking in the camera, and I had to chuckle, because it made it that much more fun, because she's got that side where I've got the 911 side as well. And so it was pretty funny. So Ben, where do you think it's going next? What do you want to see coming up next?
I mean, I just think this show is so dynamic. There's so much going on. There are so many different storylines. It's hard to say. Honestly, I just enjoy being immersed in it and feeling like I'm there, because I think it gives perspective, and I think it's generally pretty close to reality. So I think it gives a lot of perspective. So honestly, that's what I love, is just being immersed in it. I mean, yeah, there's like so many things that I could point to. I mean, what's going to happen with like, they keep talking about the motorcycle and the fact that he's not wearing a helmet. Like, is that motorcycle going to get, T-boned by somebody outside? I mean, who knows? They're
dropping hints there with
every episode. It's like, well, you wear a helmet though, right? I'm like, what's going on here? So a lot of unanswered questions.
Dropping little Easter eggs there and everything. So thank you all very much for joining us, and Ben, thank you very much as well. We'll be right back here with you if you can hang tight for just one moment. And Keely, my friend, as always, such a good time.
Always.
Yes, this has been excellent. For those who are watching and listening, thank you very much once again for being here with us. If you ever want to check it out, make sure to check out the Pitt. That is on Thursdays, 9 p.m. Eastern time through HBO Max. And also, if you have any questions or want to find out more about RapidSOS, life-saving technology, everything that they do, this is a company who has been building a safety network over years, and trusted, loved among many, and just safer together. So make sure to check them out, rapidsos.com, to find out more information. Anthony, you have a great weekend as well. Jen, you as well. And for those who end up watching this on replay, Have an excellent one. And if you ever have any questions, like I said, you've got the website there, rapidsos.com. Keely, thank you for everything. And we will all see you next week. We will see you in the next one. Peace. Imagine listening to someone's worst day every single day. Imagine listening as someone experiences life, through their worst nightmare to the miracle of birth or a life saved. I'm Ricardo Martinez, a former 911 dispatcher, and for years, I've been recording the voices of a hidden world, ours. I've provided a space for 911 dispatchers to share their powerful stories. It started as a peer support session and continues. Dispatchers sitting together, sharing out loud, or writing down what they couldn't say. Some stories will grip you. Stories of heartbreak, resilience, and calls that haunt us long after the line goes quiet. But imagine listening is more than heavy emotion. It's about healing. It's about laughing through the chaos, lifting each other up, and reminding the world that dispatchers are human too. The lighthearted will balance the heavy. Experience the power of storytelling, a podcast for the thin gold line and those who want to understand it. This is Imagine Listening. Your worst day is our everyday. Subscribe now wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.